David had died the greatest king Israel ever knew. Before his death, he passed the throne to Solomon, son of Bathsheba. Solomon would become the wisest, wealthiest, and most glorious king in all of Israel's history. He built the temple his father had dreamed of, the dwelling place of God among his people. But Solomon's story is also a warning. Wisdom cannot protect you if your heart turns away, and even the greatest kingdom can collapse from within. Let us begin. Solomon came to the throne young. He went to Gibeon, the most important place of worship at the time, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings. That night, God appeared in a dream. Ask for whatever you want, and I will give it to you. This was the defining moment. Solomon could have asked for wealth, long life, the death of his enemies. Instead, he asked, "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people, and to distinguish right from wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" God was pleased because Solomon had not asked for himself. "Since you asked for this, and not for long life or riches or the death of your enemies, I give you a wise and discerning heart, unlike anyone before or after you. And I give you what you did not ask, riches and honor, so that no king will compare with you in your lifetime." Immediately after, Solomon proved his wisdom with the famous judgment. 2 women claimed the same baby. Solomon ordered, "Cut the child in 2 and give half to each." The real mother cried, "Please don't kill him. Give him to her." The other said, "Cut away, neither of us shall have him." Solomon gave the child to the true mother because real love is willing to sacrifice. All Israel heard about the judgment and stood in awe of the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him. Under Solomon, Israel reached heights never seen before. Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They ate, they drank, and they were happy. Peace on every side. No war, no enemies. Solomon composed 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs. His wisdom surpassed the wisdom of all the people of the East and of Egypt. People from every nation came to listen. The kingdom stretched from the Euphrates to the border of Egypt, the promise to Abraham fulfilled in full. Solomon made a treaty with Hiram, king of Tyre, to purchase cedar wood from Lebanon, the finest timber in the ancient world, for the greatest project of his life, the temple. David had dreamed of building the temple, but God said, "Your son will build it." Now Solomon fulfilled that vision. Construction took 7 years, 180,000 workers. Cedar from Lebanon, dressed stone, pure gold, all prepared so meticulously that no hammer, chisel, or any iron tool was heard in the temple while it was being built. The most holy place, the innermost room, was a perfect cube, 20 cubits on every side. Inside, 2 cherubim made of olive wood overlaid with gold, their wings spread wide, covering the Ark of the Covenant. The walls, the floors, the ceiling, all overlaid with gold. The temple blazed like the sun. When it was finished, Solomon assembled the entire nation. The priests carried the ark into the most holy place, and as they withdrew, the cloud filled the house of the Lord. The priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled his house. God had come to dwell in the temple. His glory, the Shekinah, was present among his people. Solomon knelt before the altar, raised his hands toward heaven, and prayed the longest, most beautiful prayer in the Old Testament. "The heavens, even the highest heaven, cannot contain you. How much less this temple I have built? Yet give attention to your servant's prayer and hear the cry from this place." He prayed for every situation: when the people sinned, when enemies defeated them, when drought, plague, or famine struck. And he prayed for foreigners. "When a foreigner comes from a distant land because of your name, hear from heaven and answer, so that all peoples on earth may know your name." God answered Solomon at night, "I have heard your prayer. I have consecrated this house. My eyes and my heart will be there forever." But God also warned, "If you or your descendants turn away and worship other gods, I will cut Israel off from this land, and this house will become a heap of ruins." Solomon also built his own palace, taking 13 years, longer than the temple itself. He built fortresses, storage cities, and chariot cities. Solomon's fame spread across the world. The Queen of Sheba from a distant land, perhaps modern-day Yemen, came to test his wisdom with hard questions. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for the king to explain. The Queen of Sheba was overwhelmed. What I heard in my own country was not even half the truth. Your wisdom and prosperity far exceed the reports I heard. How blessed are your servants who stand before you and hear your wisdom. She gave Solomon 120 talents of gold, roughly 4 tons, along with spices and precious stones never seen before. King Solomon surpassed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom. The whole world sought audience with Solomon to hear the wisdom God had placed in his heart. But then, the most terrifying opening line. King Solomon loved many foreign women. 700 wives of royal birth, 300 concubines. Women from Moab, Ammon, Edom, Sidon, and the Hittites, the very nations God had warned against, saying, "They will surely turn your hearts after their gods." And that is exactly what happened. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods. His heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. Solomon worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians. He worshipped Molech, the god of the Ammonites, the god who demanded child sacrifice. He built shrines on the hill directly across from Jerusalem. The wisest man in the world worshipping a god that burned children. Wisdom in the head cannot save when the heart has turned away. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned from the God who had appeared to him twice. God declared, "Because you have done this, I will tear the kingdom from you and give it to your servant. But for the sake of your father David, I will not do it during your lifetime, I will do it during your son's reign. And I will not tear away all of it, I will leave one tribe, for the sake of David and for the sake of Jerusalem." God raised up adversaries, Hadad the Edomite, Rezon of Aram, and especially Jeroboam, Solomon's own official, whom the prophet Ahijah foretold would rule 10 tribes. Ahijah met Jeroboam, took off his new cloak, and tore it into 12 pieces. "Take 10 pieces for yourself. God will tear the kingdom from Solomon's hand and give you 10 tribes." Solomon reigned for 40 years like David his father, then died. His legacy cuts both ways. On one hand, the temple, the pinnacle of Israel's faith, the dwelling place of God, his wisdom, the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, the Song of Songs, works read for thousands of years. On the other, a kingdom about to shatter, heavy taxes, harsh labor, and above all, a betrayal of faith that caused God to withdraw his blessing. Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity." Perhaps these were his words of realization at the end, that all wealth, glory, and wisdom are meaningless without God. And in Proverbs, he wrote, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom," the very lesson he himself forgot. Solomon proved that wisdom is not enough. You can know the right thing and still do the wrong thing. You can build a house for God while leaving no room for God in your own heart. The temple still stands, but the kingdom is about to break in two. Next video, the divided kingdom, when Israel splits apart and begins the road to destruction. If you want to follow the entire journey through the Bible, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you for walking this path with us. May God bless you.